Good morning. I am Dr. Jetling Edlosa. You well aware that I am running a YouTube channel called Law Speeches. In this channel, I am posting my lectures on different subjects of law and also the important affairs which is happening around the world. So today we discuss the Consumer Protection Act and movement in India. Before embarking upon the subject, I would like all of you to subscribe to my channel, which is named as the Law Speeches, or you can get it by search in the YouTube my name Jetling Edlosa. Spell it as a JETLINGYELLOSA. And if you feel that my lectures are good, please like it, share it among your community. So I am running this channel for the purpose of creating the awareness about the laws in the societies. As you know that the society is full of deception. Everywhere deceptive practices have been happening in our societies. So the topic which I am discussing today is a topic which concerns all of us, because every day, every moment we are selling and buying products, and we are all consumers. So consumer is a person who buys the goods for himself, for his consumption, is called as consumer as per the simple language is concerned. So the interest of consumer should be protected at any cost. With that view, the government of India had enacted a Consumer Protection Act way back in 1986. But because of the certain loopholes in the act, again the government of India had enacted another act which is called Consumer Protection Act of 2019, which came into force from the 24th of July 2020, which we considered as a corona year. So the act is made as a weapon to be given to a consumers. Consumers have been entrusted all the powers under this act, because the 1986 Act, though was enacted to protect the interest of the consumers, but it had not fully protected the interest of the consumers, we can say. So then there is a change of time from 1980s to 90s and 2021st era. To in tune with the transformation of the time, and also to face up the new challenges, because of the world became a global village, which is there in our fingertips. You can get anything from under your fingertips. So the Consumer Protection Act the old act had been repealed and new act has been created by the Parliament of India. So in this new act, a number of changes have been brought, and we can say that it is a very, very comprehensive act having 107 sections. It echoing the traditional buying and selling to modern method of selling, like on the online purchases, online sellings. And the act stresses upon the, if any dispute is there, it should be settled by the mediation or by negotiation. So that chance is given under this act. So before embarking into details of this act, first of all, we will discuss the brief history of the consumer movement in the India and also in the world. You know, the consumer movement is first of all started in 1890 in America, United States of America. Then it's proliferated to the around the world. But in America also, when it was started in 1890, the movement was not so rigorous movement was reported. But 1960s, there was a book was authored by two experts. They are Frederick J. Schooling and the Stuart Chase. So they authored a book called Your Money's Worth. So that book, we can say that awakened the consumer movement in American society is concerned. Then we can say it is a modern consumer movement was started in America in 1960s. And it was goes on by 1967. The Ralph Nader has led the movement into further peak. Ralph Nader was a lawyer, an environmentalist, and he started the consumer movement in a rigorous manner in American society. So that led to the creation of awareness around America. So consumer rights should be protected. The old principle of buyer be aware has been gone. Now that we have the principle of the consumer. Consumer should be given a chance. So things are like that. In India is concerned, the consumer movement was, it has started by 6 housewives in Bombay, in Mumbai, in 1966, where they started an association called Consumer Guidance Society of India. So that is the first association, a consumer movement association, which has been taken a movement of spreading the consumer movement across in India. And Leela Jog can be considered as a founder of a consumer movement in our country, and she acted as a secretary to the famous Consumer Guidance Society of India for a considerable period of time. So things are like that. As I told you, that to provide a more tooth to the consumer protection, consumer movement and consumer awareness and consumer rights, in 2019 new act was enacted. So this is a very, very exhaustive act is enacted by the Parliament. And I told you also that the act came into force from the 24th of July of 2020, and there are 107 sections are there. The most important section, we can say, that is the section 2, which provides a lot of definition to the important terms. Those include the advertisement. The definition is provided in this act under section 2, clause number 1, And section 2 clause number 6 provides what is meant by complaint. Then I read here, the complaint means any allegation in writing made by a complainant for obtaining any relief provided or under the act. And clause 1, an unfair contract or unfair trade practice or restrictive trade practice has been adopted by any trader or service provider. Number 2, the goods brought by him or agreed to be brought by him suffers from one or more defects. Number 3, services hired or availed or agreed to be hired or availed of by him suffer from any deficiency. Number 4, a trader or a service provider, as the case may be, has charged for the goods or the services mentioned in the complaint a price in excess of the price fixed by or under any law for time being in force, or displayed on the goods any package containing such goods, or displayed on the price the list exhibited by him or by under any law for time being in force, or agreed between the parties. The goods which are hazardous to life and safety when used are being offered for sale to the public. So it goes on to contain everything. This exhaustive definition is provided under section 2 clause 6, which provides everything. What does it mean by complaint? A complaint is not made for only for the purpose of mere buying. Even unfair trade practices have been adopted, then it also a complaint can be made. And services have not given properly, that can be also be called as comes under the complaint. So this is a very, very exhaustive definition is provided under this act. In addition to this, the section 2 subclass 7 provides consumer. Who is a consumer? For that also a very lengthy definition is provided, where I read, a consumer means any person who, number 1, buys any goods for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partly paid and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment, and includes any user of such goods other than the person who buys such goods for the consideration paid or promised or partly paid or partly promised or under any system of deferred payment, when such use is made with the approval of such person but does not include a person who obtains such goods for resale or for any commercial purpose. Or clause number 2, hires or avails of any services for a consideration which has been paid or promised or partly paid and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment, and includes any beneficiary of such service other than the person who hires or avails of the services for consideration paid or promised or partly paid and partly promised or under any system of deferred payment, when such services are availed of with the approval of the first mentioned person but does not include the person who avails of such services for any commercial purpose. So if we observe this section 2 clause number 7, it is also very exhaustive definition is provided. The first part deals with the buying of any goods for consideration be paid or partly paid or promised to be paid. And the second part provides if you are hiring the any services for that we paid or not paid, whether we are promised to pay, that comes under the consumer. Here we have to remember that this definition is an exhaustive definition, because earlier 1986 Act has not having the exhaustive definition. Because of that fact, there was a lot of litigation was made to who is a consumer. But that to check it, to avoid that sort of problem, we have included this very exhaustive definition. And moreover, one important aspect we have to remember here is that a person who purchases a good for selling cannot be called as a consumer. That we have to remember. So a consumer means a person who has to consume for himself. So this is a very, very exhaustive definition. Then we have the section 2 clause number 8 provides consumer dispute. So consumer disputes also being given very, very exhaustive definition, which I read here. The number 1, the right to be protected against the marketing of goods, products or services which are hazardous to life and property. Number 2, the right to be informed about the quality consumer dispute means which is these consumer rights we are discussing, that the right to be informed about the quality, quantity, potency, purity, standard and price of the goods, products or services as the case may be, so has to protect the consumer against unfair trade practices. Number 3, the right to be assured wherever possible access to a variety of goods, products or services at competitive prices. Number 4, the right to be heard and to be assured that consumers' interest will receive due consideration at appropriate for a. Number 5, the right to be seek redressal against the unfair trade practice or restrictive trade practices or unscrupulous exploitation of consumers. And number 6, the right to consumer awareness. So these all are there under section 2 clause number 9, where consumer rights have been clearly demarcated under this act. So section 2 subclass number clause number 8 provides consumer dispute. So consumer dispute means a dispute where person against whom a complaint has been made denies or disputes the allegations contained in the complaint. So a complaint has to be made. So the complaint has been denied by a manufacturer, a seller, or a e-commerce online seller also. If that is there, then that sort of allegations are called consumer disputes. So like that, the number of important definitions are there. That section 2 clause number 10 provides the definition for defect, and section 2 clause number 11 provides the definition for deficiency of service. Then clause number 2 section 2 clause number 13 provides a direct selling. Then section 2 clause number 16 provides e-commerce. So e-commerce also been added under the Consumer Protection Act by the 2019 Act. Then section 2 clause number 17, electronic service providers, they are also liable. Suppose you are purchasing a product from Amazon, Flipkart or any other electronic service providers, they are liable for if any defect is there or deficiency of service is there, they are very much liable as that with a manufacturer. Then other important definitions are there. The section 2 clause number 21 provides the goods, what is meant by goods. Then Section 2, clause number 23 provides injury. Then Section 2, clause number 24 provides manufacturer. Section 2, clause number 25 provides mediation. So here, already I told you that the first time a mediation is given a official sanctity by the act. If any dispute is there pending, the mediator can be appointed by the forums or commissions which are dealing with that case. Because alternative dispute resolution, a system which providing a speedy justice, and speedy justice is a constitutional guarantee under the Article 21 of the Constitution of India. So that view, the mediation is the first time introduced in our country into the Consumer Protection Act. Then for purpose of mediation, we have the mediators have been the competent mediators can be appointed by the forums or commissions. Then we have Section 2, subclass number 28, which provides misleading advertisements. So advertisement should not mislead. Earlier Act, 86 Act does not providing this kind of thing, but because we are tempted by the advertisements, and some are misleading, even if they have any company, any person, any corporation, or any newspaper or any other online website, they promote the misleading advertisements, they are very much liable for punishment. We will discuss later. Then there is a Section 2, clause number 33 provides product, meaning of the product. Section 2, clause number 34 provides the product liability of the service provider. Product liability is there to the manufacturers, and the product liability for providing services. Then Section 2, clause number 47 provides what is meant by untrade practices. So practices which are not within the range, the influence, undue influence is caused to the trading activity, a buying activity, a selling activity, that be called as a untrade practices. So the things are like this. We go inside of this act. For that the government has provided the councils for promotion and awareness of the consumer rights, that be called as at the central level, at the state level, at district level. This is also a first time this kind of arrangement is made of. Then the other aspects are concerned. I am dealing with only the important provisions of this act. There, as I told you, that is a very exhaustive act, and the other important provisions are concerned. There is a Section 34 of the act which provides the jurisdictional point of view, where we have to initiate the complaint, where we have to file the complaint. So this act says that wherever you buys the product, there you can file a case where the opposite party resides or defendant resides. Where his branch office is there also you can file a case. So that is a jurisdictional point of view has been clarified by Section 34 of this Act. Then Section 35 provides how to make a complaint. So it should be in writing. A complaint may be submitted by online methods also. That is also been provided. while making a complaint, you have to pay the fee which is prescribed under this act by the governments, the state governments or the central government, as the case may be. Then, while the dispute is being filed, under section 37, already I told you that you can settle your dispute by way of mediation. For that, a specific time is provided. Then within the 5 days of filing of your complaint, admission is made of your complaint, you can start for mediation. Or if the proceedings are happening or going on in the forum or the state commission and the national commission, you can seek the mediation of the dispute. Then section 38 provides the procedure of to filing the cases. Here, if case is filed, a petition is filed, an application is filed in the consumer forum, within 21 days of filing of that petition, a notice has to be served to the opposite party. And the opposite party should be submit his written statement or counter within 30 days. And the Act provides under section 38 that the such complaint which has been filed in the forum or commission should be disposed of within 50 days. Then the same section also says that the proceedings which is happening in the forum or commission are be considered as a judicial proceedings. So that means the forum has the right to issue the notices, summons, call for witnesses, and call for records. If they are not, it can have the power to issue ex parte orders, power to issue the warrants. So all those judicial authorities enjoy the same power is vested to the forums, commissions, whether it may be national commission or a state commission, whatever it may be. Then in addition, the section 39 is another important section which provides that a forum can order of removal of the goods from the market, seizing of the goods, defective goods from the market, and it can order for removal of the misleading advertisement. Then it can stop the unfair trade practices, and it has the power to seize the alleged goods. And under section 39 of the Act, the forums or commissions have the power to impose the cost to the parties, the consumers. So these wide powers have been provided under section 39 of the Consumer Protection Act. Then another important power which is provided to the consumer forums and commissions, that is review. That is under section 40, the district forums has the power to review its own judgments. Because any defect is there, and the apparent or non-apparent upon the, then it can go for review. That power is vested upon the district consumer forums. Then section 41 provides the appeals to the state commission. An aggrieved party who is not satisfied with the decision of the district forum can go for appeal within 45 days of the his getting of the order. And if there is a limit of 45 days is there, but beyond that also an appeal can be filed, but we have to show for delay for the filing of the appeal. And while making an appeal, the state commission has to see that the appellant should have to deposit 50% of the amount which had been pronounced by the district forum. Then only appeal can be allowed. Then there is one more important aspect which is provided under the section 41 is that if the dispute is solved by the mediation, then no appeal is lies to the parties. Why? Because already this dispute has been resolved by consensus in between the parties. So that is the reason this kind of bar is provided to appeal. Then section 42, which provides the state commission, there should be state commission every state, that we call the state consumer redressal forum. And the section 47 is providing the jurisdiction of the state commission. The state commission has a monetary value of 1 crore to 10 crores cases to be filed in the state commission, and it has the power to entertain the appeals from the district courts. In case of the district forums, it has 1 rupee to 1 crore is a pecuniary jurisdiction, but here it is a 1 crore to 10 crores into the state commissions have been provided. Then under section 48 of this Consumer Protection Act of 2019, the state commissions have been empowered to transfer the cases from one district forum to the other district forum. So that is another important power is vested in the hands of the state commission. Then under section 50 of the act, the state commissions also have the power of review as that of on par with the district forums. Is there the apparent defect is there in judgment, then in award, then it can review its own judgment. Then section 51 speaks about the appeal to the state commission orders to the national commission. That should be made within the 30 days from the date of receipt of the order of the state commission. And at the time of appeal also to the national commission, the concerned party who is making an appeal should deposit 50% of the amount to the amount with the national commission, then only the appeal can be allowed. Then section 53 speaks about the establishment of the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Commission in New Delhi. The same section also says that such kind of sittings can be made anywhere in India as decided by the central government. So that is there. Then section 58 of the act provides that a case which is exceeding 10 crores should be directly filed in the National Consumer Dispute Redressal Forum, and the National Dispute Redressal Forum has the right to entertain the appeals from the all the state commissions across the in our country. Then section 60 of the act also provides the review of the judgment. Then it can review the judgments, and also the National Commission has the power to transfer the cases from the one state to the other states. If you sufficient cause is shown, then the cases can be transferred. Then section 65 speaks about the service of notices, and that is as per the register post, a speed post, courier, electronic way methods should be considered as a service. If it is a party, the opposite party refuses, then it will be considered as a received by the such party. Then section 67 speaks about that appeals from the National Commission can also be made to the Supreme Court of India, which is Appeals Court of the land. For that, there is a 30 days of time span is provided. Within 30 days, we have to make an appeal to the Supreme Court of India from the orders, awards, or judgments pronounced by the National Consumer Redressal Forum. Then 50% should be deposited. Then only an appeal can be allowed in the Supreme Court. Then section 69 provides the limitation part of this act. As per this act is concerned, every cause of action which has arisen from the date of cause of action, 2 years, a petition or application should be made to the consumer forums. If beyond the 2 years, it cannot, but if you show the reasonable grounds, then it can be allowed. Then the section 71 speaks about the enforcement of the orders or awards of the district forums as commissions, state commission or the national commission, as the case may be. As per the Civil Procedure Code of 1908, as the same way the execution petitions have been filed under Order 21. In the similar manner, the orders of these forums or commissions can be implemented. Then, if section 72 speaks about the penalty for non-compliance of the order, whoever does not comply, does not follow the orders, then such persons are liable for 3 years of imprisonment and fine up to 25,000 to the 1 lakh. That is provided under section 72. Then another important aspect which the Act provides, that is the punishment for false or the misleading advertisements. For that, we have to go to section 89 of this Act, which provides that if any person, establishment, or a company, a manufacturer, if they publishes the false or misleading advertisements, they are liable for 2 years of imprisonment and the fine of 10 lakhs. And if it is a first offense, in subsequent offenses, it should be imprisonment of 5 years is prescribed under this Act. Then another aspect, the unique aspect, we can say that is section 90 is inserted, where if the goods are adulterated, it causes injury, then the seller or the manufacturer, they are liable for 6 months of imprisonment or 1 lakh of fine. If it is results into the grievous hurt, then 1 year of imprisonment and 3 lakhs of punishment. Which causes injury as well as grievous hurt, if that is the case, 7 years of imprisonment and 5 lakhs of fine. And a death of the consumer is resulted because of the spurious goods or the adulterant products, then 7 years of imprisonment to life imprisonment is prescribed, and 10 lakhs of monetary fine also been to be imposed upon the such errant person or companies. So it is a very drastic act, already I told you. Then this act also says that manufacturers are also liable for sale or for punishment for selling or distributing or importing the spurious goods under section 91 of this act. If that spurious goods results into the causing of injury to the grievous hurt to the consumer, then 1 year of imprisonment is provided and also 3 lakhs of fine can be imposed off. Then in case of death, the 7 years of to 1 life punishment can be provided and 10 lakhs of fine can be imposed off. Then another, as you know that the world is now, e-commerce is swaying across the globe, and that also been added in this act. So all the e-commerce activities, by buying or selling or promoting whatever if takes place, for they are also been included under section 94 of this act, which provides measures to prevent unfair trade practices in e-commerce and direct selling. So the e-commerce, because the future lies upon the e-commerce, so that is included in this act. So this act is basically, as already I told you, provides very exhaustive way to protect the rights of consumers. And to see that unfair trade practices should not be happened, and unfair contracts should not be happened. So with that view, these inbuilt mechanisms have been made, and this act also speaks about the establishment of central consumer protection agencies for the promotion of the consumer movements in our country. Then the punishment authorities, trying authorities have also been made at the 3 levels: district level, state level and national level. Then in addition to that, to provide speedy disposal of the cases, mediation is given a statutory safeguard by this act. So this act, I hope, will in coming years will cater the all the requirements which we face from time to time. Maybe certain loopholes are there, but as compared to the earlier 1986 Act, this Act is a very, very exhaustive and also a powerful act, we can say. You know, law is, you can pick up any loophole. But this act just started its work from 2020. May see that it will give a boost to the consumer movement in our country. So with this, I am concluding my lecture on the Consumer Protection Act of 2019. If you feel this lecture is good and informative, please share in your communities and spread the legal awareness. Main motto of this making this lecture, online lecture, to promote the legal awareness. Thank you, one and all.